become better than 95% of the people out there in any or just about any field. You follow the 100-hour rule. I first learned this from Jesse Isler. He did a presentation at an event, and he was telling us how if you do something, if you focus on something for 100 hours, you elevate yourself above 95% of the people out there. And that 100 hours, it's not that long when you really think about it. If you stretch that out over an entire year, it's something like 18 minutes a day. 18 minutes a day. He further went on to tell a story about somebody he worked with. And his kid would score all these goals in soccer, and his kids went on to play high-level Division I sports. And when he asked his friend, like, what was the key to your son performing so well? He said, it's simple. All I did was spend 5 minutes with him during the week. Every other kid would go to practice, and then they'd go to the game. So you'd practice once a week. My son, I would go home with him, and every day we'd practice for 5-10 minutes. So he was getting all of that additional practice. A couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there. It goes to Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect. Each practice compounds on the previous practice. You start building your skill. You start getting your reps in. The 100-hour rule is one way that you can explore different fields, become proficient in that field, and then you can I use it as a tool to see, all right, I kind of know what I'm talking about here now. Is this something that I actually enjoy? Is it something that I want to move forward with? Or am I okay just kind of being a little bit above average? That's the 100-hour rule. Now, when I was thinking about the 100-hour rule for myself, I looked back over my life and I said to myself, 100 hours, like, where did I spend 100 hours? Like, is this really true? Does it really make sense? Because when you first say it, 100 hours doesn't sound like much, and I'm elevating myself above 95% of the population. That's like, it just doesn't sound right. Like, it didn't, the math wasn't computing for me. So then I sat down and I thought about the different things that I accomplished in life and the different things that I did in life and where that 100 hours came in. And the first thought I had was, all right, when I was in the police academy, I went to classes. It was just like going to college. You went to the police academy and you had a schedule, and one part of that schedule was law class. So you had to go and you had to learn about the law, the CPL, the penal law, like everything law. And that was 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. And we hit 100 hours. And I'm like, you want to know something? When I got out of the academy, I wasn't a lawyer, I wasn't an attorney, but I had a very strong foundation of what the CPL was, what the penal code was, like what laws were, how they were written. I knew how to use the books. Like, I had a strong understanding of what the law was. And that was just going through the academy for a couple of months, but that steady 100 hours. Then I thought about when I went to the fire department. It was the same thing in the fire department. Every day we spent a little bit of time, and it had to equal at least 100 hours, but we worked with tools, right? Hoses, the pressure of the hoses, the different ladders, the different forcible entry tools, the different techniques in how to approach the fire ground, like all of this stuff. And I started like, yeah, this is starting to make sense. Real estate, same thing, 100 hours underwriting. I didn't know anything about underwriting, and then I took the time to actually learn the underwriting and implement what I was learning. This is another important piece with the 100-hour rule. you can't just like read. You have to actually like practice. You have to do scenarios. So in the police academy, yeah, we read about the law, we learned about the law, but then we ran through scenarios. If this was to happen, how would you handle it, and what would the charges be? What would you arrest the person for? The fire department was all hands on. Real estate and underwriting, first I read about it and I learned how to be a detective. I look at underwriting as the detective of the real estate world. I'm going in there and I'm analyzing numbers and I'm putting pieces together and I'm listening to stories. There's a lot that goes into underwriting. It's not just working with numbers. That's the science part of it, but there's also the art part of it, of formulating what your strategy is going to be and knowing the story of the property and the story that you want to bring the property to, where you want to bring the property to. And that's where I spent 100 hours like actually doing that. So I learned about it, then I went out there and I actually practiced on properties that I wasn't interested in. And then I practiced on properties that I was interested in. If this property came up for sale, I would purchase it. And with the information I had, this is the price I would pay. Then I went out there and I actually implemented it in the marketplace, and I underwrote properties and I secured some of those properties. That's 100 hours. How do I take this? How do I take the 100-hour rule, right? Where else can I apply it? Where else will it work? How else can I use the concept of the 100-hour rule to broaden my growth? I decided to now do 100 reps. What is 100 reps? It all depends on what activity you're doing, right? If I did 100 reps and those reps were I did 100 push-ups, that wouldn't really do a ton for me. It may help other people, but for me, it wouldn't do a ton. But if I was to do those 100 push-ups for 100 days, that would have an effect on my health. So where can you get 100 reps in? Whether those reps are 100 videos. Here, this is another great example. I'm right in the middle of a 100 video in a 100-day challenge. I don't know anything about videos and YouTube and thumbnails and titles and curiosity and how to put a pop-up video in the middle of a presentation, and how do I get videos to pop up at the end of the video. So I'm getting 100 reps in over 100 days. How that is going to benefit me is I'm going to learn the intricacies and the nuances of YouTube. I'm already doing it, right? I already know how to put that tag up. I already know how to enter a video at the end of this video. In getting those reps in, I get my proficiency up. I learn what works, what doesn't work, right? Knowing what doesn't work is probably more important than knowing what does work. This goes across all sorts of fields. When I think about it, like I spend 100 hours and I love being in the kitchen, cooking different meals. So when I first started doing that, I had to follow a recipe because I really didn't know. I didn't have any proficiency in flavors. Now when I'm in the kitchen, I can just kind of throw things together. So my recipes aren't necessarily a tablespoon of this, a cup of this, 2 pounds of this. It's more, we're going to have chicken, and we're going to have lemon, and we're going to have salt, and we're going to have a dressing, cream cheese dressing, or a dill dressing, or how am I going to use dill with the cream cheese, or the dill with the sour cream, and create that sauce? How do I meld things together? I only got that after being in the kitchen and learning and trying new things. Now I cook more from taste and more from feeling how the food feels, right? When I'm sauteing chicken up, for example, the chicken has a certain feel. It's more dense when it's not cooked, and then it's kind of like light and pops around the pan when it is cooked. So that's how you expand your growth. You get your 100 reps in. 100 reps builds momentum, right? We were talking about Jesse's friend and 5 minutes a day. That 5 minutes a day turned into 10 minutes and 15 minutes. You just organically allow that to happen. 100 reps gets the consistency, right? If you're consistently taking action, there's going to be that compound effect. That's the power. That's the power of 100 hours. That's the power of 100 reps. That's the power of doing something consistently. You put a fancy name on it, and it's attractive to people. It gets people's attention, and then they start doing it. You make it a challenge, and then they start doing it. 100 hours, 100 reps, 100 whatever will work. It'll allow you to explore a lot of different things and see what resonates with you, and see if you want to take that thing you're focusing on, if you want to take it to the next level and start moving into mastery. Guys, we live up here in the numerator, not down here in the denominator. We always say results over excuses. Go out there, take action, and be unstoppable! Crush life, guys. Great to spend some time with you.